In this video 2-4, we will be adding and subtracting rational numbers. So by the end of the video and work time in class, you should be able to say, I can add and subtract rational numbers. Here are the steps we will follow. Step 1, find a common denominator. Step 2, change the numerator and denominator if necessary. Step 3, you're going to add or subtract the numerators while the denominator stays the same. Step 4, reduce. Step 5, change improper to mixed. Number 1, 1/3 plus 3/4. So if we have 1/3, we add it to 3/4. Step 1, find a common denominator. If we change the denominator, we change the numerator. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. We are adding the numerators, 4 and 9. Denominator stays the same. Change mixed to improper. Double check, make sure your fraction is in lowest terms. 9/10 minus 3/4. Common denominator. You want to try to come up with that least common denominator because the smaller the number, the easier it is. If you change the bottom, the denominator, you have to change your numerator. Subtract, denominator stays the same, and that is in lowest terms. 6 3/4 plus 8 2/3. We're going to add the fractions first, and then we will add the whole number second. Common denominator. Change the numerators. Add. Denominator stays the same. Change the improper to mixed. And then we will add that to our whole numbers. 6 plus 8 gives you 14. So we add that 14 to our mixed number over here to have 15 and 5/12 for our answer. 50 minus 15 and 3/4. Now we go to subtract the fractions first, then the whole numbers, and we see that we don't have a fraction here in the numerator or in the top value, and so we would think, well, 0 minus 3/4 you can't do, or you would have a negative. But in this problem, you shouldn't have a negative because the top is 50, and if you have 50 wholes, you can take 15 and part of a whole away from it. So what happens in this problem, this should be review for you guys, you have to borrow one whole from the 50, so that's going to turn into 9. Now 1 can be represented an infinite number of ways. We could have 1 over 1, you can have 2 over 2, you can have 3 over 3, 11 over 11, 12 over 12. Well, we know we want this top fraction to have a common denominator with our second one. So we're going to change it into 4/4. That's the one we borrowed, so now we do 4/4 minus 3/4, which is 1/4. Remember that denominator stays the same, and 49 minus 15 gives you 34. So 34 and 1/4 would be the answer. Can you say, I can add and subtract rational numbers? Here is your output, and be prepared with questions for work time in class.